NaNoJou 2016 by Creative Katie. That's me, Karen Birdshaw. Take time to hit the subscribe button in the lower right hand corner. Choose the option to get notified by email of upcoming videos. This NaNoJou number 10 for me, page number 10, is off the prompt paint box. And here's a sneak peek of the finished page. This looks familiar. That's because it is. I kind of just revisited it a page that I've done at an earlier time, and I just wanted to try it with different paints and different colors, and this is what came to mind. And since I've been a bit fighting, I think with myself in getting to get down and create, I thought, okay, as long as I'm creating. Sometimes you just want to take the easy road and just start playing and get yourself into the studio and going through the activity of creating. So that's what this was about. It's a happy page, and kind of hemmed and hawed about which acrylic paints to use. Did I want to use my Delusions paints? Did I want to use the Liquitex Basics? Did I want to use my craft paints? For the most part, I use the Liquitex Basics here, and you saw me use a round stencil that I bought from Michael's, and I just put the circles, some overlapping, some not. And the inspiration for this was a makeup page, an advertisement that I had cut out, and it's in my stash, and instead of using it on a page and gluing it as a focal point, I'm just using it, the colors and the design and the setup, as inspiration for my page. So what you see me doing here is putting the paint on and then using a palette knife or a cut up credit card to just drag the paint down. Now this kind of creates it almost looks at the end like a dream catcher's. So I kind of like that look. But I thought, okay, these are all the paints that you have in your art studio, and they're dripping down. Another thought I had was to try to just take this and have it just drip down, so you have paint drips all over the place. So it's just another option. I do want to do this one on canvas with the palette knife. I think you'll get much more interesting techniques. So I think I'm going to try this on canvas paper or canvas board, and then I'm going to try it and do it on a canvas because I really like the colors. They're very bright and cheery, and I think it'll look spectacular on a canvas hanging in my art studio. So I'm just going through various colors. I think there are 11 circles on this page. And while it's taking time to dry, I'm just painting in the circle part solid with each color. So there's lots of rinsing off the brush, cleaning off the palette knife in this. When I was doing this with the palette knife, I was thinking, oh, I really don't like the way it's dragging. I really don't like, it doesn't look natural enough. It doesn't look, but as I'm looking at the video, I'm thinking, oh, I'm quite happy with this. So I think it's like painting with fingers on a page. It's something you need to step back and look on it from afar to really be able to judge it. So if you're ever thinking that the page isn't going the way you want it, either videotape it and look at how it looks, stop and actually look at what's going on, or take pictures. It gives you a different perspective. And if you can't do any of those things, then just set it up and walk away and come back to it. Most times, it's not as bad as you think. Now I'm thinking here that instead of going in order, what I should have done is decided which one of these circles was further back and done those first, and then had done the ones closer later and built in that perspective. But that's something that I really struggle with, so it doesn't come easy for me. And I typically learn those things by trial and error, and usually lots of trial and error. So don't be afraid to do the same page twice. Every time you're doing it, you're going to change something and you're going to learn something. So I switched from my palette knife, which I was finding was a little bit too big, to pieces of cut credit card. It's only fitting that following a prompt called Paint Box, that I pretty much have every one of the tubes of paint that I own all out on my work table by the time I'm done this page. So in here, it looks like these blues are the same color, but they're different blues. The lighting, again, I've got new lighting, and it's dark now, so it's in the evening, and I just have to continue to play with it. So I hope you bear with me. And in a bit, I switched to my Dilutions paint because there's a color there that I don't have in acrylics. And because my Dilutions paints are just a little bit thicker, they actually worked the best for this dragging technique, or it gave what I thought was the best dragging technique on a smooth gesso surface. There I'm using the Dilutions paint, and it's just going on really, really well. So, I'm making a note to myself that if I want to do this again on a page, I will use my Dilutions paints. I don't think I'll use the Dilutions paints when I do this on canvas, because I want the thickness of the Liquitex Basics to drag and catch in the canvas. This is a Dilutions paint as well, and this the yellow, since it worked so well. But if all you have is craft paint, use that. If all you have is Liquitex Basics, use that. Don't worry so much about what it is. You may have to play with it a little bit more. You may have to change the tools that you use. It may be easier, it may be harder, but you can pretty much get the same effect with different products. So don't think that you need to go out and, go buy all the Liquitex Basics because all you have is craft paints. Don't. Use what you have and buy what you need, but not just because somebody is using it in the video. Try with what you have, and it's only a piece of paper if it doesn't work. So in the description box, there is a link to my Amazon store where I've organized all the products that I use into categories. And I either put products that I own, that I love, or products that I wish I own and hopefully will own in time. I've checked for good prices, but please, if you're ordering through the store, do your own due diligence and make sure that you're getting good prices and you're not getting stuck with some shipping charges. If you go through my store and you buy any product that I link to or anything after going through the store, I do get a small commission, full disclosure here. And I'm really thankful if you support me in that way. So I took some craft paint and I mixed it with water, and I put it in this fine tip applicator that I bought just from the dollar store. So you don't need to buy the expensive fine liner ones. And I'm applying it fairly thick. I want a good border of black on all these circles. It's not too precise. It's not extremely neat. Um, you know, perfection is overrated. I thought if I had a finer applicator, which I do, but I couldn't be bothered to go find it, I might have done kind of several scribbles, and that would give it a very different effect. But since I want to add some details with white, I wanted a bolder border in black. So again, you can take that and change it and make it your own. So here again, you see me turning the page so it is easier for me to outline. Now the quote I chose for this page is, "Be a pop of color in a black and white world," which is why I wanted to have the big, bold black. There's the background. There's some white space on here, which I typically don't use a whole lot of. And I'm always trying to challenge myself and incorporate some of that in there. But I want to add some black in there. And quite often when I get to the end of a page, most times I either add black or white. And that's what really sets off the page and finishes it off really nicely. This page is done, but I thought afterwards, another thing that I could have done here, and I might do it off camera, but that'll be too late for the video, is trace around this with the Stabilo All pencil and get that shaded look underneath these circles or wind catchers. Now I put the quote on top of the colored part and took a picture, and I really wasn't happy with how it showed up. I didn't think it gave enough, it wasn't enough contrast. So I decided to use the palette knife, and instead of going up and down, I'm going side to side and filling in the area behind where the quote's going to go. So you saw me outlining where the quote was going to go with the Stabilo All pencil. And now I'm just using the credit card and putting a couple layers of, oh, there I'm using the palette knife, of the black Liquitex Basics, just to give a solid background to the letters. Now, after I had done this, I also thought I could have used my black gesso, and I think that would have gone on a little bit smoother and would have given kind of a chalky kind of finish to it instead of the shiny finish that I get here. So I will put that in my notes too, because I like keeping notes about what I liked and what I didn't like, or some of these ideas that you get after the fact. That's how you grow and evolve as an artist. So I use a couple different fonts. Again, these are fonts that I downloaded from Free Fonts or defont.com. And I just print it out on paper that's a little heavier than copy paper. And I'm adhering it here with gel medium underneath and on top. And giving it a quick dry. So I grabbed my white gel pen, my Uniball Signo, and I'm just doing dashes around in the middle of the black that I outlined. So before this is done, you need to make sure that the black is completely dry, and it was pretty thick, so it did take a little bit of time to get to that complete dry state. If it's not dry, you're likely to clog your gel pen or kill it. And it does kind of get clogged. There was a couple spots that were a little more built up, and we're still a little bit on the wet side. So, you know, it did cause me a little bit of grief. I was able to save myself, but excuse me. And there you can just kind of see a close-up of the page. And I'm grabbing my gelato and I'm edging it around with black. And that's what I'm doing off camera. There you go. And I'm just going on very loosey-goosey on this. I'm not being too precise. I kind of want that grunge look. Nothing on this page is absolutely precise and pristine. So I kind of scratch it on, and then I just rub it with my finger. I don't even use a wet baby wipe or activate it with water. And I'm using my Posca white paint pen and just adding a bit of a highlight onto these circles. Then I decide what would this look like if I did dash, dash, dash around the black? And very quickly I decide, nope, that's not what I want to do. So I sign the page, and I'm going to call it done. So here is the finished page and some close-ups. Wouldn't this make a nice ATC? Thank you so much for joining me on my NaNoJou journey, and I will see you for the next video. Bye for now.